Hello everyone, today I'll go over what if Deku becomes Momo's Titan Part 4. And all the credit goes to the author in the description below. Let us begin. Chapter 18. You are so amazing, Izuku-kun. Me and Mo-chan barely could keep in our seats. Yaoyorozu Maya immediately exclaimed, seeing the form of her daughter's boyfriend walking in their direction. Stopping near them, the steel giant got on one knee like before, his active coating slowly switching to the gym uniform scheme. The black-haired woman skipped happily to him and this time hugged his giant leg to the surprise of everyone. I'm happy that you are so excited, Izuku replied, not knowing how to respond. Are you alright, Zuku? That looked quite painful, Momo asked, referring to the still missing antenna. I had much worse, I just repair it when the third event starts, he stated, looking a bit longer at his friend, the banner she used to cheer him on still in her hands. And your cheerleading certainly helped, thank you, princess, he added after few seconds, getting a nice blush in return. See, I told you he would like it more like that, Maya said, proud of herself, letting go of his leg. Izuku. What was that thing you did at the end? You moved so fast I nearly missed it by blinking, overly excited Mina asked, being the most hyped from everyone present. Yes, the strength and speed you displayed simply dwarfed everything that you did so far. Luna is still trying to get her head around your power signature from that time, it was massive, Melissa exclaimed, one of Luna's drones perched on her shoulder like a strange, little round bird. That's what she said, Mina immediately called out, but was ignored by everyone. That was one of my stronger moves, it's called Maximum Overdrive Protocol. It isn't anything special really, I just override security and safety protocols to use the maximum possible power I could. Izuku replied, getting a worried look in return from the blonde. Isn't that dangerous for you? It sounds as if you could burn yourself out this way, especially seeing those readings that Luna gathered. Melissa frowned, seeing the energy signature that could rival even one of the bigger power plants in the country. From experience I can say that used for short bursts like today it's safe. The problems only start to appear after around 5 to 7 minutes, and after 15 the accumulated damage starts to be problematic. The way he worded that was rather perturbing to the group. Zuku. You used that power for much longer than 15 minutes when you fought with that man in America. Those emerald flames were coming from your back for the whole fight. Momo pointed out, with worry in her eyes. Flames? Oh, that's just an exhaust from my cooling systems, it's mostly cold plasma so it shouldn't be too hot, he explained, with a slight hope they will change the subject. Why are you getting only cooler with time, big guy? I have to restrain myself from stealing you from Yao Momo. Mina sauntered closer, and thrown an arm onto Momo's shoulders. Oh, don't you dare, you pink devil. My girl saw him first, Maya shouted at the girl playfully. Ah, can't we share? He is big enough for us all, Mina replied as playfully, gesturing to the still kneeling giant. That's potentially more grandbabies to look for. I'll allow it, Maya said, shocking everyone. Mom, Momo shouted, her face nearly steaming. What, you don't want to share him with anyone? Her mother asked, a sly smile on her face. That's not the issue here, Zuku, say something, she pouted, looking to her friend. It took her by surprise that he didn't respond immediately, he wasn't even looking in their direction. Following his gaze, she spotted a short, plump woman with green hair and eyes. Seeing that she got the attention of the whole group, she started to fidget nervously, playing with the hem of her salmon-colored sweater. Mom, I thought you will be watching the festival at home? Izumi, seeing her mother, immediately walked over to her and gave the older Midoriya a hug. I was going to, but Mitsuki talked me into coming here. It's good to see you, Izu-chan. Inko replied, hugging her daughter tightly. Gripping the opportunity that presented itself, Momo decided to get as far away from the subject they were on as possible. Walking swiftly to the duo of greenettes, she introduced herself. Hello, Miss Midoriya. I'm Yaoyorozu Momo. I'm a friend and a classmate with your daughter here. A bit surprised from the sudden greeting, Inko released her daughter and bowed slightly. It's nice to meet you, Momo-san. I'm Midoriya Inko. She greeted back. I'm sorry that I interrupted your conversation there. My friend went to find her son, so I wanted to see Izumi too, she continued shyly. That's not a problem at all. Please come and join us. My mother would certainly like to meet you, Momo happily stated, gently dragging the still nervous woman back to their group. On the way, she clearly saw that her mechanical friend followed all of the movements from the green-haired woman for some reason. Mom, this is Midoriya-san, Azumi's mother. Midoriya-san, this is my mother Yaoyorozu Maya. The raven-haired girl immediately introduced the two older women to themselves, hoping that it would suffice for a distraction. It's nice to meet you, Midoriya-san. Your daughter is a really good friend to my little Mo-chan. Maya started, seeing that her fellow mother was uneasy. Oh, please call me Inko, I'm not too used to being formal with others, she replied, but still held the hem of her sweater in a nervous manner. Oh, these are my classmates and friends. Ashido-san, Shiozaki-san, you know Melissa-san already, and Momo-san introduced herself earlier. Oh, and this is Knight-san. He's a good friend of mine too. He even helped me in learning how to use my quirk in a less harmful way. Izumi introduced everyone to her mother, with corresponding girl nodding or waving with a smile. But when she introduced Izuku, he didn't react, still following after the increasingly nervous woman with his gaze. Seeing the strange behavior of her friend, Momo walked up to him. Zuku, are you all right? She asked, but still didn't get any answer. Seeing the green-haired woman, Izuku's cognitive processes nearly froze. She was much younger than the one in his memories, but after running all the scans his body was capable of, he had more than 98.7% certainty that it was the same woman. With the white-haired heroine from before, he didn't know what to think. He didn't have enough information, but what he knew and remembered was mind-boggling to him. Only after a few minutes he saw that all of the gathered people looked at him, and the woman in question was shaking under his unflinching gaze. Blinking a few times, he looked to Momo. I'm sorry, it must have been a glitch or something. Did you say anything? He asked, getting a worried look back. Zuku, are you feeling all right? You didn't respond for a few minutes at all, she asked back, with all of the gathered people looking at him too. Yes, your new friend over here just reminded me of someone I knew really long ago, he said absent-mindedly, stealing another glance at the green-haired woman beside Izumi. Oh, wait. You remembered something? That's good. At long last your memories are returning, even if just a little. The raven-haired girl smiled from ear to ear. He decided it was better for her to think it was like that. After she calmed down a little, Momo introduced their new guest once more. Zuku, this is Izumi-san's mother, Midoriya Inko, she said, and the older woman bowed slightly. I'm sorry I frightened you, it wasn't my intention. I'm Knight Izuku, it's really nice to meet you, he said, in a gentle voice. Oh. It's all right. It's nice to meet you, Knight-san. Thank you for helping my daughter with her quirk, Inko responded, bowing much lower than before. Seeing that he still was frightening the small woman, Izuku's mood dropped a bit. In moments like those he really wanted to be smaller again. It's all right. Izumi is quite a good friend to me too. Please call me Izuku. I'm also not too good with formalities, he said to her even softer. Inko-san, did you see how capable Izuku-kun is? To think that my baby girl found a boyfriend stronger than one of the top heroes. Maya butted in, earning a groan from her daughter. It seemed that Momo wouldn't get any respite from her mother's love. Oh, so Izuku-san here is in relationship with Momo-san? That's lovely, the older greenettes exclaimed, seemingly forgetting that she was afraid of the giant a few seconds ago. Right. I'm wondering only how to organize the wedding. We will think something out, maybe just building a special hall for the occasion. Maya started, giving her daughter nearly a heart attack. I'm so jealous, Yaoyorozu-san. I'm still waiting for my baby here to find a man for herself. Inko replied, patting her daughter on her shoulder. Izumi just blushed and looked around, panicked for any help. Seeing that the pinkest of them all was smiling to her, she felt a bit relieved. Don't worry, Midori Mama. We were just talking about that with Yao Mama, Mina cheerily said, skipping closer to them. For some reasons, instead of the relief, Sudden dread started to rise in the greenette's chest. We were going to share Izuku between us all, the pinkette said, throwing her arms to the sides as if she unveiled the best plan ever. With her words, a noise similar to grinding gears could be heard, directing all the attention to their mechanical friend. I need to go to the workshops, excuse me, he said, getting up sharply. With the force he used, the walkway under his foot cracked. Seeing that, he flinched a bit and backed a few steps, just to trip over a concrete bench that crumbled to pieces from that. He tried to catch himself onto a nearby lamppost just to rip it out of the ground too and fall on his back onto grass. Zuku? Mono panicked seeing her friend in that state and tried to go to him but hesitated for a second seeing the damages around him. The steel giant quickly got to his feet and looked at the destruction his one trip up caused. Looking to his black-haired friend, he saw that she didn't know what to do. I'm fine, I just need to go make those repairs, I'll see you later, he said, quickly going in the direction of the school. The group of friends and two older women looked after his retreating form, not knowing what to do, but Momo immediately glared at the pink-haired girl who flinched from her gaze. Was that too much? Mina asked sheepishly. What do you think? The Ravenette asked with clear anger. I'm sorry. Izuku never reacted like that before. The pinkette tried to defend herself. Oh dear. He must have been really unnerved to not control himself like that, Abara said, looking over the destroyed part of the sidewalk. Mother Momo. Papa didn't want me to tell you that, but he is experiencing some glitches from time to time. The last one was just before his fight and he was acting a bit strange after that. Luna's voice resounded from the small drone still perched on Melissa's shoulder. But why didn't he say anything? Momo asked her daughter, who was silent for a few seconds. Only a small light signifying that she was still connected to the drone could be seen. Papa said that you have more important things on your head and shouldn't be distracted, Luna replied, taking off from the blonde's shoulder. I'll go talk to father, she said curtly, going after the steel giant. Momo looked after them, really wanting to follow, but she didn't know what could she do to help. Mo, let's go get something to eat. Our daughter will take care of this. We will talk with Izuku after the festival is over, there will be time for that then, Melissa said to her distressed friend, walking closer and giving her a hug. Sorry Mo-chan. I didn't know that teasing him would end like that, Maya said, visibly sad that she made Izuku run away. Don't worry Mom, I'm sure he isn't mad at you or anything. Maybe you would like to join us at the cafeteria. Of course Yuta Midoriya-san, Momo said with a small smile, but inside she still was worried for her friend. I would like to. There wasn't much time we could spend together as of late, right Izu-chan? Inko said to her daughter, feeling rather uncomfortable after what just happened. Yes, that would be good, the younger Greenette replied, also looking after their friend. She decided that she would apologize to him for all that later. He didn't know why he overreacted like that. Somehow he felt a bit stupid after calming down. Seating in a shadow of one of the support course workshops, Izuku had an urge to cry. Sadly, it was yet another thing that he couldn't do, all thanks to his cursed meta ability. He would never again taste any food, never feel anything on his skin, he couldn't even hug anyone or just laugh. He could of course make the sound of laughter, but he didn't have any respiratory system that would allow him to laugh like a human being. It only made him feel more sad when his friends made those comments of being in a relationship with Princess. How could he even give her any love with his cold, unfeeling body? It took only a second of lost control to demolish a part of a sidewalk. His body was a war machine now capable to destroy and kill with but a small mistake. Looking to the palm of his right hand, he was certain that he didn't regret changing into this form. It was all for Princess, to keep her safe. That was something he would never regret, and probably would do it all over again if such need arose. But all of that didn't really help with the sadness he felt for losing his human form. Papa, are you all right? The sudden appearance of a small round drone in his vision got him out of that stupor. Oh, hello Luna. Yes, I'm all right. What are you doing here? Weren't you with your mother earlier? He said, and was a bit surprised that the small remote-controlled body of his daughter landed on the palm of his hand that he was looking at before. Yes, I was accompanying Mother Melissa earlier, but I was worried when you ran off, so I followed you. His daughter replied, the single sensor array on her body looking back up to his mono eye. Oh. Thank you, sweetie, but I'm all right, as you can see. There is no need to worry, he responded back. But there is. It's bad to lie, Papa. Sometimes you are absent-minded and don't react to anything that's happening around you, and then you just shrug it off saying that's just a glitch, but then you refuse to make any scans of your body to find the issue. How can we help you if we don't know what is happening? The artificial construct asked at the end. Surprised by his daughter's words, he remained silent for a minute, contemplating what to tell her. I'm sorry, Luna. I didn't want to make you worried, he said, looking to the ground shamefully. It's all right, Papa, but I want to help you. We are family and family helps each other when it's needed. He wanted to smile when he heard how she said that with so much fervor. The way she used her synthesized voice to convey her feelings was getting better from one day to another. But then it struck Izuku that his daughter was in the same situation as him, if not worse. He had a body, his own 4 limbs, and could move from place to place. His daughter was like a brain in a jar that has access to a few remote-controlled bodies that had extremely limited functionality. Thank you, sweetheart. It's nothing serious really, he started, getting a huffing sound from the little drone on his palm. Chuckling a bit, he continued. Sorry, I worded it wrong. I recovered a few of my memories, but they don't seem to make any sense. And I'm a bit uncomfortable with the request from Princess that she made about our pretended relationship. I just need to cool my head a bit, that's all really, he explained. Oh. Are they bad memories? She asked back. No. They're just rather unusual. Kayama-san offered to help me with them, but that needs to wait for a bit. At least until after the festival. Izuku mused, looking in the direction of the stadium. Loud music and laughter from the gathered people could be heard even from this place. He really would want to go and see the actual festival, but with so many people around it would be nearly impossible to not harm anyone. Papa, can you make me a body like yours? Luna asked, surprising him greatly. What for? It would be much weaker than mine without the arc reactor, and it's really hard to move around being this big. We can create you a smaller body with Melissa later if you want, he replied, puzzled. I want to be big like you, so you wouldn't be lonely anymore, she replied shyly, stunning her father. Oh, sweetheart. Thank you. I'm not lonely when I have the best daughter in the world with me, he replied, forcefully stopping himself from hugging the little drone. Its frame would be just crushed in his arms otherwise. But you are. You always stay behind when mothers need to go into the dorms, or when you stay at your home. Or now you just hid from everyone so they wouldn't feel bad that you were left behind. Luna pushed, seeing multiple times how her father from his own volition stayed behind to not cause any problems to anyone. I have a really big and powerful body, Luna. You saw what happened with one small mistake. I could hurt or destroy someone if I'm not careful. It's better if I stay behind to not cause any problems, Izuku replied, but his voice clearly displayed how sad he was. I know, Papa, that's why I want to stay behind with you, his daughter said, clearly dead set on her decision. Thank you, he said, looking to the sky. Well, his current body had one small positive about it. If he was still organic, there would be a giant puddle of tears all around them right now. And this photo here is from when Izumi had 4 years. She would run around the apartment in her all-might-onis and fight with all the villains she could imagine. Inko said with a radiant smile, clearly happy that she could share her most precious memories with another mother. Oh my god, she is so adorable. Mo-chan would only go around in those long dresses and play princesses with Mel. You need to visit us sometime. I have a small library of albums with photos of my baby girl. She even once got Takahashi to wear one of my evening dresses. I nearly passed out from laughter when he walked down the stairs in a makeup made by a 4-year-old. Maya replied, laughing. The 5 teens sat at the table beside them. The 2 daughters read from the embarrassing things that the mothers talked about. Yao Momo. I'm really sorry, Mina said, dejected, still a bit sad that she caused their big friend to panic like earlier. Don't apologize to me. It's Zuko who should hear that, Momo replied, still a bit mad at the pinkette. Yeah. He really freaked out. It was the first time I saw him lose control like that. Melissa butted in, feeling a tad bit responsible too. Luna-san said something about him getting glitches earlier, right? That he was acting a bit strange after them. And today he was so transfixed on my mom and said that she reminded him of someone that he knew long ago. Do you think that he remembered more than he is telling us about? Izumi said, her analytical side taking over to distract herself from the embarrassing photos her mother had seemingly an infinite amount of in her purse. Now when I think about it, didn't he suddenly stop moving for a minute when we were walking to the dorms 2 weeks ago? He said then that it was a glitch too. Melissa replied, drinking from a soda can. Well, I didn't bring it out earlier because I didn't see any need to. Momo began, with all of the girls looking at her. She played a bit with her fingers on the table. When we met for the first time, in Nevada, Zuko looked totally different. He had short curly green hair, green glowing eyes and freckles. 4 of them on each cheek in a symmetrical pattern. She said, with the girls slowly looking to Izumi, who certainly could match that description. Wait, you mean he looked somewhat like Izumi here? Mina asked, pointing to the greenette. No, more like identical, Momo replied, still playing with her fingers. Well, that's rather impossible, unless Izumi here has a secret twin brother, the pinkette said, visibly confused. I would probably know if I gave birth to 2 children, sweetie. Inko's maternal voice intruded into their conversation, making them jump a little. Looking to the table that the 2 adult women sat at, both mothers seemed really interested in the conversation of the younger girls. But I must say that it's really peculiar. To the end we thought that Izumi will be a boy and Izuku was the name chosen for her. It took everyone off guard when she came to this world. It was unheard of such mistake in determining a gender of the child in decades. The older greenette stated, looking up and seemingly trying to remember something. The plot thickens. Mina exclaimed happily, getting a few unamused looks. Do you maybe have any family in the United States, Inko-san? Melissa asked, trying to piece some of this together. No, only my ex-husband. He didn't give any signs of life for over a decade. The older greenettes replied, a bit apprehensive about the subject. Melissa wanted to ask something else, but suddenly a really lively woman with red hair walked up to them, a press pass pinned to her shirt. Hello. I'm Kagami Sumika from Hero Network Japan. Can I ask you a few questions? The reporter asked, a man with a camera on his shoulder just behind. I guess? What about? The blonde teen asked, unsure. Our viewers went crazy about that mechanical armor which you used to nearly dominate the 2 first events. Some are asking if it's fair to use such advanced equipment, and it's unfair because anyone could do what you did if they had a support gear like that. How would you respond to that? The redhead asked, moving her microphone to Melissa's face. Sighing, she looked to the reporter. Then why aren't they doing it? That exosuit was made by my own 2 hands, literally. According to the rules of this school, any gear made by the students and approved by a special commission can be used by the person that made it. Is it fair that Todoroki can make glaciers with his quirk? Or that Bakugo can create explosions from his palms that are strong enough to lift him with ease like a blast wave engine? She replied, getting a nod in return. That's understandable, but some of the people watching the festival are wondering if you are going to militarize your equipment. Are you planning to sell your inventions to the defense force? That question stumped her a little. She never really thought about that. Sadly, the suit I used during the festival is at a prototype stage. It uses a few of my other experimental solutions that aren't ready to be introduced to the public yet. At the same time, my original powered armor that I used at the entrance examination could be easily retrofitted for use by police or firefighters. It seems that even I can get narrow-sighted. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Melissa replied with a smile. You're welcome. Can I ask something from one of your friends? The reporter inquired, looking to Momo, who got a bad premonition about that. I guess? The blonde girl replied, not seeing the increasing distress of her black-haired friend. Hello. Our viewers tried to guess the identity of the mysterious princess from the moment Night-san started to cheer for her. I must say that no one could guess that it was the literal princess and heiress to the international conglomerate. Yaoyorozu Enterprises. Could you tell us a few things about your partner? The ginger-haired woman asked, in a giddy way like a schoolgirl wanting to get a hot piece of gossip. What? Momo asked, a bit dreadful. She already made Izuku extremely uncomfortable if him running off could be taken as such. Her giant friend would be really mad at her if she didn't clarify everything, but it was already too late. I'm sorry for my daughter, she is really shy about that, Maya said, walking to the raven-haired girl and giving her a side hug. My Mo-chan and Izuku-kun had a fateful encounter 6 years ago. She started, with Momo trying to stop her. The older ravenette didn't acknowledge her efforts though and talked on. We were in Los Angeles for her birthday, but those villains that call themselves MLA kidnapped her. We organized a massive search immediately. You probably heard that side of this story, she said, winking to the camera. Yes, I was at my final year of high school then, but I remember reading about that. There were more than 60 heroes in the search party, but ultimately it was All Might who found your daughter. The reporter summarized for the viewers. Ah, and here you were wrong, she replied with a smile, stunning the ginger-haired woman. It's true that All Might escorted my daughter to us, but it was Izuku-kun who helped her escape and get back home. He was kidnapped by the same group and together with my baby girl managed to escape those extremists. Sadly, they catched up to them, so that little hero led them away for Momo to let her escape. Only by chance she stumbled upon All Might, who was on a mission. We tried to find young Izuku for years and miraculously he showed up on the radar 3 weeks ago, so we organized a small rescue party, but it was sadly too late. Maya continued, with all of the younger girls looking in awe on the pure acting skills of the older woman. Looking to Azumi's mother, they sweat dropped seeing that she was crying a river from the sad story. That's certainly something no one could foresee. So is your daughter in a relationship with Night-san? The beautiful banner she used to cheer him on certainly implied that. The ginger-haired woman returned to the question at the start. You liked it? We made it ourselves. The ravenette beamed with a smile. Mo-chan told us today that they are dating, so we needed to show it somehow, she continued, with her daughter getting slightly pale. That was it. Her little lie went into the wide world and everyone now thought that they were together. The only hope was that her big friend would forgive her. Attention listeners. Our third festival event will begin in 10 minutes. Please return to your seats if you don't want to miss anything. Our 16 heroic students that advanced to the final round are asked to return to the stadium's battle arena. Present Mike's voice announced loudly. Well, it seems that our time is being cut short. Thank you for this little interview, and I wish you all success. The reporter said her goodbyes and left. Oh, Inko-chan. Do you want to join me on the VIP lounge? The view from there is much better, Maya asked her new green-haired friend. Oh. I don't want to bother you, and Mitsuki is probably searching for me too. Inko started nervously, but the raven-haired woman didn't take no for an answer. Then we invite her too. Don't worry about the seats. I didn't know which one was the best, so I bought out the entire first row. She happily stated, shocking nearly the whole group, with only Momo just sighing, knowing about her mother's way of dealing with things. Walking out into the battle arena of the stadium, Momo immediately spotted her giant friend. She smiled, seeing that in the place of his one missing antenna was an oversized band-aid covering the damaged place. It looked more comical than it should. Standing in line with the other 16, she only hoped that he was all right now. It was the first time she saw him losing composure like that. Welcome back after the break, listeners. We are continuing our festival with a traditional at this point one-on-one tournament. Their voice hero started, getting a roar of applause from the gathered people. Thank you, present Mike. Like in all the years before, the brackets will be chosen randomly. Now let's look to the screens to see who will face who. Midnight continued gesturing with her flogger to the giant screens, once again being hoisted into the air on Izuku's palm. The same roulette as before appeared, but this time with the faces of the combatants. In the first fight we will have a battle between Midoriya Izumi and Shinso Hitoshi. The sexy heroine started to read out the results. The second round will be between Todoroki Shoto and Honta Siro. Third, Kaminari Denki versus Shield Melissa. Fourth, Tenya Iida against Hatsume Mei. 5th, Minoru Mineta vs Monoma Nato. 6th, Yayorozu Momo vs Kendo Itsuka. 7th round will showcase Kirishima Eijiro and Tokage Setsuna. And the final round will be between Uraraka Ochako and Bakugo Katsuki. With all of the fights announced by midnight, Izuku spoke this time. Like in the previous events, usage of quirks is permitted. Please take caution though, any attacks deemed too excessive or dangerous can result in disqualification. The victory is decided on the same way as in the exhibition match that was in the break. Ring out is self-explanatory. If Midnight Sensei decides that one of you is unable to continue, it's over. Attacking an incapacitated opponent is against the rules and will result in disqualification. Our top priority is your safety. If for some reason any of you feel that the fight should be stopped, you can forfeit at any time. He explained, his voice clear and strong. The first round will start in 10 minutes. Please prepare for your fight. The heroine gestured to Izumi and Shinso, striking a sexy pose. The third event of the sports festival was about to begin. Chapter 19. Wow, Inko, you could have told me about knowing someone so rich. This VIP lounge is so fucking awesome. And the view, we will be able to see my brat kick so much ass from here. An overly excited and beautiful blonde woman ranted to her a bit embarrassed green-haired friend. Mitsuki, please don't be so loud. We're being a bother for everyone else here. Inko shyly tried to reprimand the blonde in turn. Oh, don't worry, Inko-chan. It's more lively like this, Maya said brightly, a beautiful smile on her face. I like you already, Yayorozu-san. To think that I would watch my brat compete together with my husband's boss, what a small world. The blonde bombshell laughed. Hee hee. I love your work in the modeling industry too, Bakugo-san. The raven-haired woman replied with a small laughter of her own. Inko, I'm so impressed with your little girl. When did she get so strong? My brat wouldn't stop raging about from how much into dirt she stomped him, Mitsuki asked, after a short clip of the best moments in the festival so far played on one of the screens. On it, Izumi was shown in the moment of passing Bakugo, who fell into the river because of a misfire from his quirk. She was swimming so fast that in her wake other students were pulled in. Oh. That's actually all thanks to Melissa-san. Her father was making some research on quirks and Izu-chan donated some blood. It turned out that she wasn't quirkless, and after a lot of training and rehabilitation she managed to manifest her ability. Inko replied, with a sad smile on her face. Why didn't my brat told me about that? They're friends for so long already. Hey, when are they going to start dating? It takes them so fucking long. The blonde huffed, exasperated. I don't know, Izumi didn't say anything about that. Come to think about it, little Katsuki didn't visit us in a very long time. Maybe they just drifted apart a bit? The brunette replied, with a thoughtful look. Ah, darn it. Yayorozu-san, isn't your daughter looking for some high school romance by any chance? Mitsuki asked, wiggling her brows. Ufufu, Mo-chan is already taken. Maya laughed happily, with a blinding smile. Dang it again. What does a mother need to do to set up her brat on a date? The blonde said, causing the two accompanying her to laugh a bit. The third event of UA Sports Festival is starting now. President Mike's voice rang loudly through the speakers around the stadium, getting the attention of everyone to the concrete stage in the middle. Izuku was standing on one side with Midnight still on his palm. On the opposite side, Cementos sat on a concrete throne that was connected to the arena, able to react at a moment's notice. Hailing from Class 1A of the heroic course, her jumpy moves are only second to Mirko herself. Midoriya Izumi. From one of the entrances the announced girl walked out, stiff as a board. Boohaha. Your girl is as nervous as ever. She certainly have it after you, Mitsuki hollered at the sight of the girl walking rigid like a statue. From Class 1C of the general education, his sleep deprivation levels are measured on a scale that only Eraserhead was to this date. Shinso Hitoshi. To the words of the voice hero, a violet-haired student walked off from the opposite entrance to Izumi's. He was slouched and walked with his hands on his pockets, looking uninterested. Oh dear. That young man looks really tired. Inko fretted over the sickly-looking teen. Are you two ready? Midnight's voice sounded, getting two nods in return. Begin, she shouted, cracking a whip. For a few seconds nothing happened, with both of the teens seemingly waiting for someone to do something. Izumi started slowly walking to the still not moving Hitoshi, who looked as disinterested as before. Suddenly the greenette's face scrunched in a rather adorable angry grimace, and she said something to her opponent, gesturing with her hand. The violet-haired student smiled creepily and said something back, just for Izumi to freeze up. To the shock of the whole audience, she slowly and unsteadily started to walk back to the point she entered the ring from. Hey, what's happening? Why is Izumi giving up? Mitsuki asked, puzzled from the actions of the younger girl. Izuku-kun is glaring at that Shinso boy something fierce, Maya said, and after looking to the steel giant the other two mothers saw that it was true. His single eye seemed to glow brighter, and was narrowed like when he fought with Mirko at the end. That's why I tell you all that our entrance examination is flawed. Shinso's quirk is powerful. If used correctly it would be one of the most powerful meta abilities that this school have seen. Yet he was sent to the general education because we are prioritizing physical pros. It's true that it is important, but at the same time it can be trained. Eraserhead narrated, getting a murmur of surprise from the spectators. Izu-chan. Inko whispered, she knew how much all of this matters to her daughter. To be defeated in such manner would be nearly devastating to her little girl. Everyone thought that she would just walk out of bounds, but only a few steps away something happened. At first it was faint, a few small green sparks. But suddenly the whole body of the greenette emanated so much energy she looked like a lightning rod. All of that power coalesced into a single point. Two fingers on her left hand shined for half a second and then hurricane winds exploded outwards. It was so strong that even in the stands people were pushed into their seats. What the fuck was that? The blonde bombshell asked with amazement. Even her son's explosions didn't produce shockwaves like that. Izumi staggered a bit back, but her form was looking different now. Her long fluffy green hair took on more jagged appearance. The green lightning that earlier showed up only sporadically now danced across her form, connecting with the ground around her. Even from here the three mothers could make out that her eyes were glowing. Somewhat even the pressure she was emanating could be felt in the stands. Holy shit. Mitsuki commented again. She never would have thought that this ray of sunshine could be so intimidating. Please don't swear so much. There are other people here. Inko shyly reprimanded, but she too was looking in awe at the form of her daughter. Inko-chan, I think that your friend's reaction is appropriate enough. Maya said, observing the duel. It was surreal that such a shy girl held so much power. Shinso stood up shakily after being sent to the ground from the earlier shock wave. He started to speak again to his opponent, but the greenette didn't seem to replay anymore. She relaxed a bit from her stance and her visage returned back to more normal one. Only occasionally a small green electrical discharge danced on her body. Seeing that the violet-haired boy started to move, trying to get to Izumi first. She didn't give him a chance though, as after he got 2 steps closer the girl shot up to him and Shinso nearly folded over her foot from being kicked. The teen boy was launched from that attack a few meters back, and rolled out of bounds. The winner by ring out is Midoriya Izumi, Midnight announced, rising one hand up. A small ovation broke out. No one thought that the green-haired girl could produce so much pressure. Izumi straightened from the attention she got, but slowly walked to her still wheezing opponent. To everyone's surprise she extended a hand to the boy and after a short exchange that was unheard by everyone else helped him back onto his legs. What a youthful show of sportsmanship. Such things truly turn me on. The sexy heroine exclaimed, with the steel giant slowly extending his arm further to get a bit more distance between them. Did you really say that on live television while hosting a high school event? Weren't you supposed to be this school's public relations specialist? His unsure voice could be heard through the whole stadium and caused a few laughs from the spectators. Inko, your girl is so badass when she wants to be. Mitsuki started, still amazed at the quite intimidating appearance of Izumi. I must agree, Inko-chan, your daughter is amazing. Maya continued, still remembering that incredible shock wave that pushed her into the seat. In the second match, the coldest man you ever met. Class 1A Todoroki Shoto. The called-out student walked out into the stadium, looking surprisingly angry. If you need something fixed, call this guy. Class 1A Honta Zero. The second teen showed up with a big happy grin. Sue, who is your daughter dating? The blonde mother couldn't pass any occasion for gossip, especially about something like love life. Oh, he's a really shy boy it turns out. I might have teased him a bit too much and he ran away from us. He seems better now but I should probably apologize later anyway. The raven-haired woman replied, gesturing to the arena. Oh, is it that Todoroki brat? He is certainly eye-catching, even with that scar of his. The blonde pondered. Mitsuki, it's not that boy. Maya-san was talking about Knight-san over there. Inko corrected her friend, gesturing to the steel giant with the sexy heroine on his palm. You're shitting me right. How is she gonna give you any grandchildren then? Can they even bone like that? Mitsuki asked crudely, making her green-haired friend sputter and blush so hard she nearly fainted. It may or may not be a slight issue. I'm certain that we will think something out. The most important thing is for my little girl to be happy, everything else is secondary. Maya said, with a contemplative face. Begin. Midnight's voice cut off any other discussion, and just after that a giant glacier sprouted in the arena. All of the spectators looked in silence at an ice growth that reached over the stadium's roof. On the ground Izuku was shielding his company host from the attack with his own body, one of his arms caught in the attack and engulfed whole in the iceberg. Thanks Izuku-kun. Zero-kun, are you able to continue? Midnight quickly gathered herself and asked one of the boys. The tape quirk user's head was the only part of his body that could be seen and the chattering of his teeth could be easily heard. After getting a negative response the sexy heroine continued. Honta Zero is unable to continue. The winner is Todoroki Shoto. To her words a wild applause resounded. I'm sorry about that. I was mad and my emotions made me irrational. Todoroki said, simultaneously thawing out his classmate. After he was done he turned to the still frozen steel giant. I will melt the ice around you. He offered, but paused after seeing that the single eye of the still trapped titan was looking the glacier over. There is no need. Izuku replied courtly, with a loud cracking noise following just after. Everyone was taken aback, even after knowing of his strength, when he just ripped his arm straight through the ice. It was even more jaw-dropping when the mountain of frozen water shattered into smaller chunks and fell over into the arena, making it much easier to clear out. The ice you are producing has a really uniform crystalline structure but forming it so fast puts quite a lot of pressure onto it which makes it much more brittle and causes it to break in predictable ways, food for thought. The steel giant said to his dumbfounded classmate, shaking the rest of the ice off of his arm. We will continue the tournament when the arena is repaired. Midnight announced, seeing that action from so close was even more amazing but thanks to her experience she managed to remain composed. In the VIP lounge the three mothers looked in awe at the abilities of the competing teens. How the hell are they so strong? I mean I know that my brat has a rather good quirk for offense but that Todoroki kid just caused an ice age in here. Mitsuki commented, still shivering a bit from the frosty air. Well, he is the son of number 2 hero after all. Strong blood I guess. Maya replied, covering herself a bit with a small jacket that she had on the seat beside her. Izu-chan will have to fight that boy in the second round. My baby girl. Inko started to fret, a small stream of tears already going down her face. Don't worry Inko. I'm sure little Izumi will kick all kinds of ass in here. The blonde woman side-hugged her friend and tried to make her stop crying. She knew really well how the Midoriyas could shed tears like from a faucet and she really didn't want to get wet in such a cold place. All preparations are finished, mother. Luna chirped from her small drone body, hovering near the exo-suit. Thank you. Melissa replied, slipping into the opening on the back. The sound of machinery coming to life resounded, soft clicking of the armor plates setting themselves into their places followed just after. Are you nervous, Mel? Momo asked, standing nearby, the scene of her sister entering the armor fascinating to watch. Nope. I have a foolproof plan to win. The quirkless inventor replied, with her face plate opening, the whole helmet folded on itself and revealed more of her head. Our plan have a 98.6% predicted success rate. Luna supplied, with a hint of happiness which didn't go unnoticed by the two girls. Oh come on, what's the worst that could happen? Melissa asked jokingly, shrugging simultaneously. Cascading critical failure of the power systems followed by spontaneous release of the power stored in the energy cells. Result of that would most likely be ignition of the compressed fuel for the jump assist system and a spectacular explosion potent enough to create a meter-wide crater in the concrete floor of the arena. Luna replied to the rhetorical question still in a happy tone of voice, with each word Momo's eyes got bigger and bigger. Mel, what the hell is she taking about? She shouted at her friend in concern. Oh, don't worry about that, she's joking. Melissa made a dismissing gesture, while looking nervously to the drone. Mostly. Luna replied. What happened for you to be in such a happy mood? The blonde asked, curious a bit. It's a surprise, Papa told me to not tell anyone. Their daughter replied, only increasing their curiosity. How's Zuko doing? Is he still mad at us about that whole thing? Momo asked shyly, still slightly perturbed from her friend's freak out. Mad? Oh, Papa wasn't mad at you, he just have a lot on his head right now. He said that the request you made about the pretended relationship is a bit uncomfortable for him and that the memories he recovered didn't make any sense, so he is just a bit stressed. Luna droned on, with Momo starting to feel even more bad for what she caused. But he asked me to not tell you any of this. Oh, please don't tell Papa that I said it to you. Oh no. What do I do? The round body of their daughter started to fly in circles, seemingly distressed. Don't worry, sweetie, we won't tell him anything. Melissa calmed down their daughter, looking a bit worried at her black-haired friend. Shield-san, please make your way to the exit and wait to be called out to the arena. The present Mike's voice sounded from the intercom over the entrance to the preparation room they were in. That's my call, wish me luck. You can go with Momo if you want. The blonde said, gently grabbing the still circling drone from the air. I'll do that, thank you mother. Luna replied, flying over to the outstretched arms of the raven-haired girl. As the two walked their separate ways, Momo looked down to the small round drone in her grasp, mulling over some things. Could you tell me what were you talking about with Zuko? She asked shyly. I'm sorry mother, but Papa asked me to not tell you anything. He is feeling a bit better though. The blue sensor array turned in her direction when their daughter spoke. It was pulsing with each word just like her father's eye. Please, Luna, it's really important. I want to help him too. Especially when I'm one of the sources of his stress. The raven-haired girl replied, nearing her class lounge. I guess I can tell you. Papa is lonely. The artificial construct stated, to the Ravenette's confusion. What do you mean lonely? We are always there for him. Momo replied, not knowing how to interpret her daughter's statement. I know, but he still needs to be extra careful around you all. Not to mention that he just can't follow you everywhere and do things that bring people happiness. He said that he would like to eat something called katsudon, or that he really wanted to go around the festival and look around the stalls. He can't do anything like that anymore because of his powerful body. Papa is scared that he could hurt someone by accident, especially after what happened earlier today. Luna's voice clearly was dosed with a bit of sadness. I never knew. It's all my fault. He changed into that form to defend me. Momo stopped just short of the doors leading to the seating area for her class. Oh, no, that's not what I meant. Papa said that he doesn't regret doing that to defend you, Mom. The small drone panicked, seeing her mother saddening significantly. That doesn't change the fact that it's my fault. How am I ever gonna repay him for that? And now I asked him for something so stupid just to get my parents of my back. I'm not a good friend to him at all. The raven-haired girl said, hugging the round drone to her chest tightly to not start crying. Mother, please don't be sad. I'm sure that Papa isn't blaming you in any way. Her daughter tried once again to rise Momo's spirits. Momo-san, something happened. The shy voice of Izumi sounded. She was walking in their direction with two of her fingers bandaged. No, it's nothing. We should go. Mel will fight any minute now. The black-haired girl said, trying to smile a bit. Okay. The brunette replied unsure, but decided to not push the subject. With a bit awkward atmosphere, the three of them entered the lounge just in time to hear the announcement from their English teacher. In the next match, a guy who will leave you shocked in a flash. Class 1A Kaminari Denki. His opponent will be the quirkless wonder, our resident mad scientist. Class 1A Shield Melissa. Present Mike's voice could be clearly heard, and the two of their classmates walked out to the stage. The electric quirk user was full of swagger, shooting finger guns to the audience and making a "call me" signal with one hand. All the girls of Class 1A only looked at their peer with flat expressions, most of the female spectators doing the same. When Melissa showed up, it was a totally different story. The whole stadium roared in cheers, all of the gathered people rooting for the quirkless inventor. Her power suit looked a bit more armored now, with no visible gaps this time. Her helmet was folded back, revealing nearly her whole head too. Walking steadily, the blonde girl waved to the spectators, earning herself an even louder reaction. Well, Melissa-chan, are you ready to be shocked by my awesome abilities? Kaminari asked, wiggling his brows. More than you think, she replied with a smile that unnerved her opponent a bit. After that, her helmet snapped into place with a soft clang. Are you two ready? Midnight asked, getting two confirmations. Begin, she shouted, cracking her whip for emphasis. Denki immediately rushed forward, his whole form already starting to spark with electricity. Indiscriminate shock, 20 million volt. He shouted, going all out from the get-go. His opponent just stood there, not even trying to do anything. Most of the lighting generated by the blonde teen struck Melissa's armored form, drawn by the conductive plating. The attack lasted for a few seconds, creating a spectacular light show. Yay! Kaminari started cheering all around with a dumb face, getting a burst of laughter from the people watching. Melissa stood still for a few seconds, with a bit of smoke rising from her form. She opened her face plate, with a slight grimace of pain. Damn, insulation needs a bit more work, she said, moving to her dazed opponent and nudged him slowly off of the ring. Winner by ring out is Shield Melissa. Midnight announced, with a bit less enthusiastic applause after the mediocre fight. That was expected, by all of us except Kaminari, that is. Jiro commented, getting a few nods from her peers. Shield-san is really creative and knows our quirks. I bet that she has a little something prepared for all of us. Honta Siro added in, still wrapped in a thermal blanket. Our vice representative truly proven herself to get so far in the tournament. I must leave now to prepare for combat. Iida stated, his arms nervously gesturing all around. Calm down, Iida-san, we will all cheer for your victory. Shiozaki said, seeing how nervously her classmate was acting. Of course, I shouldn't bring disappointment to my peers. He replied, marching up stiffly. All of Class 1A sweat dropped at the sight. Iida-san is strange. At first I thought that he was mocking Papa with his robot-like gestures, but it seems it's just how he is. Luna commented, getting the attention of everyone. She floated out of the black-haired girl's hands and started to look around. Oh, hello little one. Did you manage to talk with your father? Abara asked with a hint of worry in her voice. Yes, he is much better now, Auntie Abara. The little drone replied, causing a small blush to appear on the Christian girl's face. That's good. I was worried that we went too far when he ran off like that. Izumi said, a bit sad that she caused their big friend to panic. Don't worry, I'll make sure that Zuko knows who is the most at fault here. Momo said, glaring at the pink-skinned girl, who was trying to get a bit smaller in her seat. Nevertheless, All of us are responsible for what happened. We didn't try to stop you, even when we could. Shiozaki added, feeling a bit of guilt too. What you talking about? Pony asked curious. They talking about this I think. Jiro deadpanned, showing her phone to the American. On the screen was a news feed with the hot topic being the apparent relationship of Izuku and Momo, with most comments stating how sweet and romantic was the backstory the older Yaoyorozu provided in a quick interview. Oh god no. What have I done? Zuku will be so mad at me. Momo started panicking, her little lie to her parents quickly snowballing out of control. Congratulations. Pony happily shouted, glomping the Ravenet into a tight hug. I'm back. What did I miss? Melissa called from the entrance, seeing the depressed-looking Momo being hugged by happily jumping Pony. Momo-san is dating Izuku. Pony happily replied, with the blonde inventor quickly connecting the dots. Well, there goes nearly all of my blackmail material. She said back jokingly to lift the atmosphere a bit. What do you mean nearly? Momo asked wearily, still in the embrace of her horned classmate. Yufufu, do you really want to know? Melissa asked back, making it look as if she was a villain from a cartoon, dramatic flair and all. Mother, full system diagnostic of the exosuit show damage to the power couplings and capacitor units. Vanadium power cells are stable and managed to retain some power from the attack. All other systems are fully operational. Luna reported, floating closer to the blonde. Thank you, sweetie. Her mother replied, patting her round body a bit. Hey, who is Iida-san against? That Hatsume girl was on your team in the second event. Kyoka asked, curious about her classmate's opponent. She is as crazy as they come. I had to fight her off with a stick when I went to the workshops with my first power suit for repairs. Literally, she was so persistent on wanting to look my tech over that power loader sensei gave me my own little place. Melissa replied, still getting slight shivers remembering how far that pink-haired girl would go to achieve her own goals. In the fourth round of the festival we have the personification of Speed himself. From Class 1A Iida Tenya. Present Mike announced, entrance of the bespectacled teen was even stiffer than that of Izumi. You never know what this girl will do, the arsenal of support equipment seems to be endless with this one. From Support Course Class 1H, Hatsume Mei. To the voice hero's words the pink-haired girl marched out of the entrance, a confident grin on her face. She was decked out from top to bottom. On her head a steampunk-looking head protector with goggles, a sleek-looking backpack on her back and the massive hover soles from the first event adorning her legs. A set of vambraces with nozzles mounted on them were on her arms, connected to the backpack by wires and tubes. Well, if not for our vice representative here, that girl would certainly drop a few jaws to the ground with her inventions. Zero stated, seeing the amount of equipment the support student carried, all of it looking professionally made. Not gonna lie, even if she is brash and don't follow any kind of safety procedures, her heart is in the right place. Melissa replied, analyzing the hardware her fellow inventor created. Begin. Midnight's voice rang, with Iida immediately sprinting at his opponent. Just when his kick was about to connect, a robotic arm pushed Mei out of range. Her hover soles came to life, lifting the girl around 10 centimeters from the ground. The speedster recovered in time to avoid a splash of some kind of rapidly expanding foam, breaking into a sprint around his opponent. The still grinning Pinkett followed after her opponent's movement by spinning in place. She switched something on one of the arm braces and started to shoot the same expanding foam in a form of pressurized bullets. The exchange took half a minute, but it was one of the most action-packed fights in the tournament for now. Izuku jerked Midnight out of a path of one of the bullets that hit him in his chest, a sticky bubble around 50 centimeters in diameter formed at the point of impact. Thanks, big guy. I'm not really in the mood to get showered in sticky liquids right now. Maybe later. She thanked him, adding the last one with a wink to her big co-host. If the steel giant had a face, everyone would see the most epic deadpan of the century. After another minute Iida was rapidly losing ground, the places he could go heavily restricted by the capture foam of the happily laughing Hatsume. With a determined face he looked to his opponent, as if he decided something. Recipro burst. He shouted, with blue flames shooting out of his calf exhausts. His speed rose tremendously, surprising everyone. Hatsume's avoidance system managed to jerk her out of the path of the first kick but had to do it with rather extreme force, sending the still hovering girl sharply to the side. Her opponent capitalized on the situation, moving even faster. Not wanting to do too much damage, Iida opted to push his opponent out of the ring. Mei tried to stop herself, but one of her legs went over the edge of the concrete platform they were fighting on, causing her to lose balance. With her Hoover souls trying to compensate, she careened into the ground in a heap, with the spectators hissing a bit from the seemingly harsh impact. Panicking a bit, the blue-haired speedster went to help the girl, but she shot up to her feet unperturbed, and started to laugh. Ha ha ha. My beautiful babies were amazing. And there is so much place for improvements too. She started to cackle a bit at the end, and ignoring everyone started to go back to the entrance as if she wasn't even interested in anything that happened around. The winner by ring out is Iida Tenya. The sexy heroine said, with Izuku trying but failing to get the sticky substance off of his armored chest. That was a great show of what our support department students are capable of. We will continue the tournament after a short break for cleanup. Present Mike announced, with Izuku setting his company host in a clear place and going to one of the entrances to clean himself up too. Wow, I didn't think that this chick would put up such a good fight. Zero commented, getting a scoff from Bakugo. That crazy bitch didn't even try, she looked as if she was just testing her toys. The explosive blonde said with an angry grimace. Or it could be how his face looks naturally, it was 50-50 on that one. Because knowing her, it in fact was just a test run. I'm guessing that Power Loader Sensei even marketed it to her as such to just get her out of the workshops. Melissa stated, getting a few sweat drops from her group of friends. With the small grape head of the class going to prepare, all of them just talked about the upcoming fights or the ones already finished. Momo sat quietly, once again hugging the round drone body of her daughter. She looked after her big friend who just walked back out of the entrance, his form clean again. She really needed to talk to him, but it would need to still wait. She needed to think of a way to apologize and make it up to him. She only hoped that, like with all gossips, their relationship would be forgotten after few days. Chapter 20. It was ridiculous. Why did Mei-sama approve of that overgrown vending machine and not of him? Even if he had the interest of his family in mind, didn't everyone? Monoma fumed by himself in the preparation room, the big form of that joke almost always being the centerpiece of all camera shots, their teacher on his palm looking like a toy in a child's hand. His opponent was a midget from that accursed Class 1A. He used those round growths on his head to incapacitate a few of his opponents before, so it was obvious to just avoid them. Looking down to his palm, he grinned, the powers he copied just waiting to be accessed. He had only 15 minutes of each, but luckily that timer didn't go down until the quirks were in use. Poltergeist alone should be enough to win this match. He would need to give his regards to Yanagi for that one. A few rapid knocks on the doors caught his attention. After couple of seconds, Yaoyorozu Takahashi entered the waiting room. Seeing the older man, Monoma immediately stood up in greeting, but Takahashi gestured to him to sit back down, taking another chair at the table by himself. How are you feeling before the fight? The raven-haired man asked. Excellent, sir. I will certainly win. Monoma replied with a grin. That's good, my boy. I'm sorry for my daughter's behavior earlier. I think she's entering that rebellious phase you teenagers are famous for. Takahashi continued, chuckling slightly. Monoma's followed suit with a nervous laughter. I believe that Momo-san will see the benefits from our union. It's impossible that her current relationship could pan out. The blonde quirk copier said back, still with his smile. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Nito-kun. I'm not too eager to let my daughter waste her best years with someone like Knight. At the same time, the whole reason he ended in his current form is because he did that to defend my little girl. He was willing to lose his body permanently just to keep her safe. The raven-haired man started, with Monoma grimacing internally where all of this could lead. I'm fully supporting your advances in regards of my daughter, but if she is truly happy with her current partner, I won't try to separate them. You're on your own, my boy. Takahashi stated, getting up from the table. Takahashi-sama, you can't be serious. Are you really gonna allow that mech warrior reject to take Momo's hand? The blonde teen asked, standing up. Nito-kun, I'm really disappointed in you right now. That man is my daughter's savior. Even if this situation is unacceptable, he at least deserve our respect. The older man replied, walking to the door. I wish you victory in the upcoming duel. He said, walking out and closing the door. Arg. That's unbelievable. Monoma shouted, frustrated. He was still in game, but his main supporter withdrawn for now. Monoma-san, please prepare for your fight. You will be called in 5 minutes to enter the arena. Present Mike called through the waiting room's intercom. At least he could work out a bit of his frustration on one of those 1A idiots. Seating in her assigned waiting room, Momo tried to think of something that would help her in this situation. She idly played with a water bottle that she got from a vending machine just outside, at the same time listening to what was happening on the TV mounted to the wall. It currently was showing a group of primitive-looking robots cleaning the area of the highly adhesive substance that Hatsume used earlier. Well, they weren't that primitive, but with Izuku standing in the background they looked more like toys than anything else. Hey Mo, whatcha doin'? Melissa bursted into the room, followed by shy-looking Izumi. Just thinking. The girl in question replied absent-mindedly. Oh, don't worry. That gal from 1B isn't going to know what hit her. The blonde exclaimed, trying to lift her sister's mood. Why yeah, you're going to win this fight easily, Momo-san. Izumi followed suit, albeit visibly nervous. Fight. Ah yes, fight. I guess you're right. To her reply the blonde and brunette shared a worried look. So what is eating you up? Thinking of the decorations for that wedding Auntie Maya is already planning. Melissa jabbed at her best friend, getting a glare in return. Very funny. I'm thinking of a way to somehow reverse all this. She said dejected, even her fluffy ponytail seemed to deflate and drop lower. But why? You said that you have some feelings for him, why not seize the opportunity? Melissa asked, with her black-haired friend deflating even further. It's not that easy, Mel. Zuko is much older than me, isn't it strange to start something like that between us? I've been nothing but a problem for him from the day we met, I'm the reason he is stuck like this. She said, gesturing to the TV that was now showing a shot of Izuku with Midnight extending her hands to him like a child that wants to be carried. With a slight eyebrow tick she continued. And now I asked him to lie to my parents, which turned into a worldwide event apparently. How did all of this get so out of control? She said exasperated. I don't think that's really a problem. Izuku-san is really forgiving. Izumi butted in. She maybe didn't know him too long, but that's the impression the steel giant left on the girl after patiently helping her to master Ofa. Yeah, I know. But that doesn't mean that we should abuse that. Momo agreed, looking to the screen on the wall. On it the preparations ended. In the background Izuku was standing on his platform with Midnight seating on his forearm that was in front of the giant in such a way that the sexy heroine could lean back on his chest plate. Their teacher was happily swinging her legs like a child on a chair. And why is that woman so clingy to Zuko anyway? The Ravenette huffed exasperated, to the slight amusement of her two friends. Jelly? Melissa asked, laughing a bit. I'm not jealous. It's just inappropriate to cling to him on live television like that. Momo tried to reply, but a massive blush could be seen anyway. But you are even more clingy, dare I say. You did use him as a bed a few times. The blonde countered, giggling at the even fiercer blush she received. That's something totally different. We are friends, there is nothing wrong in what we do. The Ravenette said back, a bit louder than she intended to. Okay. Geez, don't get so pumped from a slight tease. Melissa chuckled. The voice of their English teacher stopped any further bickering. The fifth match of this tournament will begin now. From Heroic Course Class 1A, stickiness of his balls is legendary. To that intro, a burst of laughter emerged from the spectators, even the blonde inventor snorted with amusement. Minoru Mineta. The voice hero finished. The small teen waltzed out into the open, trying to look cool but miserably failing. He even repeated the same gestures that Kaminari did, but somehow only managed to look even dumber than the electric quirk user. Hailing from Class 1B, Jack of many trades. Mono Manito. The called-out teen walked out into the open with a stoic face and small smile. Hey, it just occurred to me that if you win your fight and that blonde douche wins his, you will be able to kick his teeth in for rating you out to your father. Melissa suddenly said, getting the attention of the two girls in the room. Yufufufu. Izumi got a cold shiver down her spine when she turned to the rabbinette. Momo had that angelic smile on her face again and was laughing like a high-class lady. That behavior somehow set off a lot of red flags in the slowly backing off greenette. Let's hope that Monoma-kun will win then, shall we? The black-haired girl replied, still smiling. Hey, Shio. Do you think I went a bit too far? I didn't want to make the two of them so uncomfortable. The pink-skinned girl asked her friend, who was watching the modern art history teacher interact with their giant friend. I'm certain of it, she replied looking to Mina. But you aren't the only one at fault here too, all of us were present but we didn't act. Abara continued, looking back to her lap, playing with her hands on it. Suddenly a loud laughter could be heard from Kaminari, who was showing something to Ciro, who started to chuckle too. Hey, whatcha laughing at there? Mina asked, but her endless energy seemed a bit drained. Night is a meme now, apparently. Kyoka replied, barely keeping herself from laughter too. She walked over and showed her own phone to the two girls. On it was an animated gif of the moment that Mirko attacked Izuku with a Luna fall kick. It showed in slow motion how the steel giant is winding up his uppercut, all the moving parts a spectacular sight. Just before the attacks connected, a caption showed over his legs reading, "Be gone." And when the powerful impact sent the heroine flailing back through the air, it continued with, "Thought." Mina bursted in laughter more than the electric blonde, even the Christian girl smiled from the picture. They surely work fast. The pink girl hollered, taking out her own phone and searching for more pictures like that one. Are you two ready? Midnight asked the two teens now standing in the ring, getting a shaky nod from Mineta and a cocky smile from Monoma. Begin, she shouted, with the small teen immediately going into offensive. Mineta started ripping off his hair balls and throwing them in the general direction of his opponents who just stood there, even putting his hands into the pockets. After around 3 minuets, the small man started to bleed slightly from his scalp, but not even a single ball landed in a 5-meter radius from the blonde. Is that all? What else should be expected from a Class 1A? Are you gonna step off of the arena or am I gonna need to move? Monoma asked mockingly, gesturing with one of his hands. Seeing his opponent's reaction, Mineta trembled a bit. It wasn't from fear though, as slowly he was getting enough of the jabs at his stature, at his pervertedness, at his seemingly stupid quirk. Gripping 2 more balls into his hands, he made a mad dash at the blonde, who looked a bit surprised at the unexpected development. Keeping Yanagi's poltergeist active, he made a few steps forward to get his opponent into the range of the telekinetic meta ability. With the small teen being significantly heavier from his round projectiles, the only thing the blonde could do was trip him up, but with the gained momentum, Mineta bounced upwards using the 2 balls in his grasp. Then he proceeded to bounce off of the already scattered around purple balls, gaining even more speed. With widening eyes, Monoma barely dodged a kick to the face from his flying by opponent. Dropping poltergeist, he started to use steel from his other classmate, Tetsu. Clenching his jaw, he head-butted Mineta, who was again trying to deliver a kick, with a soft crunch resounding. Crying out in pain, the small teen fell to the ground, clutching his leg that was twisted a bit in a strange angle. Mineta Minoru is unable to continue. The winner is Mono Manito. The sexy heroine announced, with Izuku already signaling the medical droids for a pickup. He made a few scans of the boy and sent all the information to Recovery Girl, the compound fracture that his classmate suffered would be healed without a trace. Smirking to himself, Monoma tried to move, but barely kept himself from falling face first into concrete. Looking down, his eyes widened, seeing that he was stuck to the ground by a few of those purple balls. Grunting in annoyance, he activated the last quirk that was in his arsenal of copies. A long thin blade emerged from his fingers and crouching down he freed his feet. Marching back into the entrance he came from, Monoma was more angry than when he stepped into the ring. "Well, that little twerp at least tried," said Bakugo, surprising his peers. Seeing that all of them were looking in his direction, the explosive blonde scoffed. "What? I can compliment an extra when he does something right." He barked at them, getting a mass eye roll. "He does have a good grasp on his quirk. I think that Mineta-san showed that to the pro heroes watching. They may be interested in teaching him." Suyu commented with a ribbit at the end. "Until he opens his mouth, that is," she added, getting a few of her friends to sweat drop at the bluntness. "Hey kids, do you want to see something cool?" Melissa kicked the door open with a shout. A few of the teens jumped in their seats. Kyoka, with her hearing, actually jumped out of it and clutched her ears from the unexpected noise. "Shield-san. It's really inappropriate to threat school property like that." Iida immediately started to reprimand his blonde friend who just waved him off. "Sorry, Iida-san. I tried to stop her but she just wouldn't listen," Izumi said in a small voice, entering just after the blonde inventor. "Hey, how's Yaomomo? Is she okay?" Mina asked immediately. "That's remained to be seen. For now she's good. And really pumped for her second fight," Melissa replied with a smirk. "Wait, second one? But she still has to win her first one," Abara asked, not really following. "She want to whoop the blonde ass, the one that talks about marriage." Pony butted in, her Japanese still rather rough. "Wait, wasn't he the one who talked with her parents about that whole dating thing? He was with Yaomomo's father earlier," Mina said with growing realization on her face. "Oh, he dead," she continued after few seconds with a grin. "Ladies and gentlemen, the sixth fight of the tournament is upon us," Present Mike announced, with the arena once again cleared and prepared. The representative of Heroic Course Class 1A, she came second in the first event and first in the second. The acrobatic princess of creation, Yaoyorozu Momo. To his words an ovation broke out. Momo walked steadily into the open. She had only her gym uniform, without the support grate she created in the first two events. Her opponent will be the representative of Heroic Course Class 1B. Even before the end of the first month she got herself the title of the class mom. As fiery as they come, Kendo Itsuka. The girl in question walked out from the opposite side, with a slight blush. The two of them walked into the ring, stopping 10 meters apart. "Why I'm getting such an embarrassing intro while you're so badass?" the ginger-haired girl asked, still with a little blush. "I don't know, maybe achievements," Momo replied, unintentionally sounding a bit arrogant and getting a slight grimace from her opponent. "Are you two ready?" Midnight asked, looking to the two. "Sensei, is Knight-san going to be one of the referees? I hope that he can remain unbiased for the match," Itsuka asked, looking wearily to the steel giant that directed his attention to her. "Do not worry, Kendo-san. I'm here only as an eye candy, according to Midnight Sensei. I will only interfere if any of you go too far. There will be no bias in that, and all decisions are made by our teacher here," he said, looking to the smiling heroine on his palm. "Okay, that's good." Not knowing how to replay to the first half, she just decided to ignore it. "With that out of the way, begin," the sexy heroine declared, cracking her whip. With those words Kendo started to move first, but after 3 steps her eyes widened. In a flash of colorful light her opponent was now holding a long-weighted staff, that was on a direct collision course with her head. Entering into a slide she barely dodged that attack, and using her quirk she sprung into air. Momo followed her opponent with her sight. The whole right arm of the Ravenet shining in the light of creation, the sleeve just got shredded from the item that was constructed. Being midair, the ginger-haired girl flipped herself with the momentum from the jump, falling from around 3 meters onto Momo. Her left fist enlarged to gigantic proportions, being nearly the size of her own body. Itsuka felt a sudden premonition that blocking herself from seeing her opponent was a bad idea, especially when she didn't got to see what the raven-haired girl created. A sudden roar of a rocket engine only made that feeling worse, but it was too late. She felt her giant fist collide with something small but incredibly hard, her bones barely holding together from the impact. To Itsuka's surprise, she was pushed back, but managed to enter into a back flip and land without too much problem. With her fist now normal size, she could see a nasty bruise forming on one of her knuckles. Will that girl ever stop with surprises? With a move straight from our honor student's book, she countered her opponent seemingly with ease. What will she do next? Present Mike narrated, with the scene replaying on the screens around the stadium. Momo, with a large plum of red flames emerging from her elbow, performed a perfect uppercut, pushing her opponent back with the help of her new piece of equipment. Not waiting for the ginger-haired teen to recover, the Ravenette sprinted to Itsuka. She swung her staff with a lot of force, making her opponent grunt from the impact to her guard yet again. Do you have super strength too? You nearly broke my arm. Itsuka shouted, clearly surprised. Not responding, Momo twirled her staff and attacked once more. The ginger-haired girl, seeing that blocking won't work, started to dodge, twisting and turning out of the way of the whizzing by staff. Seeing an opening, she struck Momo in the ribs, but even when using big fist, she barely managed to push her opponent away. Letting go of her weapon in a way, it rolled off of the ring. The Ravenette spun in place with the added help of her rocket gauntlet. With the sudden action, Itsuka only managed to put up a guard, receiving the strike head-on. Feeling as if she was struck by a sledgehammer, she backed a few steps, with her guard open from trying to catch herself. With the crimson flames still roaring behind her right arm, Momo followed the spinning motion, gaining even more momentum. Just when Itsuka was about to recover, she received a vicious roundhouse kick that sent her rolling just out of bounds. The winner by ring out is Yaoyorozu Momo. Midnight announced immediately, with the spectators cheering loudly. Staggering a bit into a stop from the fast spinning motion, Momo walked to her opponent and offered a helping hand. Behind her right elbow, soft hissing could be heard, and a small cloud of steam escaped the now cooled rocket nozzle. Itsuka took it without any hassle, gripping her side from pain. I think you did break something this time, she said, getting a wry smile back. Sorry about that. My instructors often said that I focused too much on the fight. Momo replied, helping the ginger-haired girl into the stretcher that would take her to Recovery Girl's office. You seem like a decent gal. We should hang out sometime. You know, one representative with another. Itsuka said with a pained smile. Oh, certainly. I would love to, Momo replied, smiling radiantly back. She walked off of the arena with her new acquaintance, exchanging a few words. So, is that story from your mom real? The one about you and Knight? Itsuka asked from the stretcher. Blushing immediately, Momo cursed inwardly. Yes, it is. We met a long time ago in the States but got separated. He saved my life sacrificing himself, she said, hoping the other girl wouldn't ask too many things about that. Wow, that's so cool. I mean the whole fateful encounter thing, not that your boyfriend is stuck like this. The ginger girl immediately corrected herself. How is it even working, if I can ask? She asked after a few awkward moments passed. What do you mean? The blushing Ravenette asked back, a bit puzzled. You know, the couple stuff. Itsuka tried to elaborate, blushing a bit herself. Like hugging or kissing. I mean, he doesn't even seem to have a face to begin with. She continued, mumbling a bit. That's. Momo panicked, not knowing how to respond to that. With the black-haired girl blushing harder than before, the Class B representative started to think that maybe she too should visit the school nurse. You don't need to answer if you don't want to, sorry for that. It was insensitive to ask when we know each other for only a few minutes. Itsuka stated, getting a small nod from the other girl. Seeing that they would go separate ways, the two said their goodbyes, with Itsuka promising she would visit their dorm after the festival. Maya-san, your daughter is really talented. The way she combines her quirk into the moves she performed was quite good. Inko complimented the friend of her own daughter, getting a smile in return. Oh, my little Mo-chan was nearly obsessed with becoming a hero together with Mel-chan. They were training nearly non-stop. I even had to step in at some point to ensure that they wouldn't hurt themselves from overworking. The black-haired woman in question replied, getting an understanding look from the two seating beside her. Yeah, my fucking brat did the same a year ago. I had to beat that shit out of his head because he wanted to train non-stop too. Mitsuki agreed, with Katsuki being a royal pain on her ass before he managed to get into UA. Oh, Izumi did that too. And she even had a meal and exercise plan from her rehabilitation supervisor and trainer. Inko stated, shaking her head a bit from the recklessness her little girl displayed sometimes. Don't you think that Midnight is clinging a bit too much to your daughter's man, Yaoyorozu-san? It would certainly rail me up if someone would do that to Masaru. Mitsuki asked, getting a raised brow from the woman in question. She is talking about her husband. Inko elaborated a bit, seeing the questioning look. Well, if Mo-chan is okay with that then so am I, but for me it looks more cute than anything. Maya replied, looking at the sexy heroine again seating on the giant's palm and swinging her legs like a small girl. Attention please, the 7th match will start now. The voice hero called over the speaker systems. From Class 1A, the manliest man to ever grace this stadium. His abs are harder than steel. Hiroshima Ajiro. The called teen entered with a grin plastered on his face, the top of his track suit discarded showing of his impressive musculature under a black tank top. He marched onto the ring flexing to the laughing spectators. From Class 1B. There is no one more flexible than her, the way she can move is going to give you a headache. Tokage Setsuna. A green-haired girl entered the arena, grinning like her opponent. She walked like on a catwalk, swaying her hips in a mildly sensual way. When the two of them entered the ring, surprisingly it was Izuku who spoke. According to a request from Principal Nezu, I will be the announcer for this battle. Please keep it clean and safe. Are you two ready? He asked, raising his free hand, the pouting form of Midnight in the other. Hell yeah, Robro. Bring it on. The red-head teen shouted, pumping himself up by punching his hardened fists in front of himself. Any time for you, big boy. Setsuna said, smirking. She started to sweat a little when his eye didn't leave her form for a couple of seconds. After a rather long awkward moment he blinked and continued as if nothing happened. Start, he announced, swinging his arm down. What ensued could hardly be called a fight. With Setsuna's lizard tail splitter she changed into a floating mass of body parts, greatly surprising Kirishima. He used his hardening immediately, which allowed him to survive the initial assault. Sadly his quirk only made him sturdier, not heavier. Grabbing him under his arms, the green-haired girl lifted him quite easily out of the ring in under 30 seconds even with the red-headed teen flailing wildly. Hiroshima Ajiro is out of bounds. The winner is Tokage Setsuna. Izuku proclaimed, gesturing to the reassembled girl in front of him. That was brilliant set. Congratulations. The sexy heroine jumped to the girl, hugging her. Thanks Auntie Nimari. Blushing a bit, the girl seemed to get a bit bashful for the first time. Well, that was fast, Inko said, observing the familial actions of the sexy heroine and the winner of that round. It's no wonder that Izuku was asked to be a referee. The record still belongs to that Todoroki brat. I'm still feeling a bit cold after that one. Mitsuki commented, observing how the steel giant, gently, peeled off his company host from the green-haired girl to allow her to leave. It was just a bad matchup. I'm sure that this red-headed boy would have a better fighting chance with someone who can't fly and dodge like that girl. Maya analyzed, feeling a bit bad for the loser. It's finally my brat's turn. Oh, I can't wait. He is going to kick so much ass. Mitsuki said, leaning a bit in her seat. Isn't Katsuki-kun fighting with a girl? I hope he doesn't go too far. Inko replied, knowing how vicious her friends, little boy, could be. Well, they are fighting to be the best. You can't really expect them to not give their all. The raven-haired woman stated, but inside she hoped that her own daughter wouldn't be injured. Okay listeners. The last fight of the first round. From Class 1A. His explosive character will be useful in the upcoming battle. Bakugo Katsuki. The blonde teen showed up from the entrance, his face in a permanent by this point scowl. From Class 1B. Don't let her bubbly and floaty attitude fool you. My personal favorite of this festival. Uraraka Ochako. To the voice hero announcement, a brown-haired girl with seemingly permanent blushes on her face entered the arena. She looked a bit embarrassed, scratching the back of her head nervously. Mike, you shouldn't play favorites. Aizawa reprimanded his coworker. I'm not one of the judges, so it's safe. Present Mike laughter. Are you two ready? Midnight asked, getting two nods in return. Begin. Immediately after the fight started, until now bubbly-looking girl changed immediately. Her eyes sharpened and the posture got more reactive. Not paying any attention to that, Bakugo released a small explosion in her direction to test the waters. He stood there for a few seconds waiting for the smoke to disperse, only barely dodging a sweeping attack from his opponent. The blonde's eyes widened from the realization that this crazy chick just ran straight through his explosion, only shielding her eyes with her arms. Blasting into a spin, he gained a bit of space, simultaneously pushing Uraraka back. He shot a larger attack this time, but the lingering smoke only made it harder to see what his opponent was going. The brown-haired girl tried to circle her opponent a bit, taking advantage of a slight breeze that carried the smoke to the side. Launching herself again, she barely missed the arm of her opponent, who immediately let loose an explosion that caused her ears to ring horribly. She powered through thou and grabbed him by his sports uniform that wasn't properly zipped up. Yanking the blonde teen to herself, she slapped him on the face with a lot of force. In return, he fired the largest explosion yet, causing the brown-haired girl to be pushed a few meters back. She rolled to a stop and got up on her shaky legs ready to fight again, but Bakugo Katsuki is out of bounds. Uraraka Ochako wins. The voice of Midnight caught her off guard, and looking to the place her opponent was just a few seconds ago, she was surprised that he wasn't there. The slight tingling of her fingers told her that zero gravity was in effect, and she smiled with realization. The explosive teen looked at the world upside down, trying and failing to recover from what happened. His head still a bit woozy from hitting the wall of the stadium with so much force, he was plastered to the said wall just beside the entrance he walked out of a few minutes earlier. He saw that brown-haired girl jumping up in celebration, and that giant freak walking to him. Izuku reached up to the still dazed teen, who was still floating around 7 meters from the ground, and gently guided him to the ground. You can deactivate your meta ability now, Uraraka-san. To his words, the still smiling brunette touched together her fingers and the influence of gravity returned to her opponent. Well, fuck, Mitsuki said, but roared in laughter after seeing the dumbfounded face of her son on one of the screens. Oh my, I thought that he was a bit stronger than that from your stories. Maya smiled at the laughing blonde beside her. He is, but at the same time he thinks that there is no one better, so things like that tend to happen. One of those days he will listen to me when I say to not underestimate his opponents, whoever they are. Mitsuki replied, wiping a few tears and still laughing. Mitsuki, you shouldn't laugh like that. Katsuki-kun is probably really sad from that loss. Inko reprimanded, but smiled a bit from her friend's antics. Well, it's good he stays at the dorms because he would be a bitch to deal with at home. She replied, still smiling. With that, we have our semi-finalists. The voice hero caught their attention, with the new brackets showing up on the screen. In the first fight, Midoriya Izumi vs Todoroki Shoto. Second match will be between Shield Melissa and Iida Tenya. Third fight will showcase Mono Manito vs Yaoyorozu Momo. And the final fight will be between Tokage Setsuna and Uraraka Ochako. Present Mike announced, with the faces of the contenders showing in the respective places. The first fight will commence in 30 minutes, after a short break. He ended with music starting to play through the speaker. Maybe we should grab something to drink. You want anything, Inko? Mitsuki asked, standing up and stretching a little. I would like to go for some green tea. The plump greenette replied with a smile. Oh, there is no need to go anywhere, Maya said, puzzling the two. She took out a really slim phone from her small purse and called someone. Hello, Edward. Could you bring some refreshments for me and my two friends here, please? Yes, some tea and light snacks should be good. Thank you. She ended the call, still smiling. Well, damn. How can I get angry at you flexing your wealth like that when you are so happy? Mitsuki said jokingly, seating back down. Oh, I shouldn't. Money are meant to be used, what's the point of having them otherwise? Maya asked innocently, with her two new friends' sweat dropping. With the older man bringing a cart full of snacks and brewing fresh tea, the three mother talked about their children through the small break. Chapter 21. Still in disbelief, Izumi sat alone in her preparation room. With wide eyes she watched a replay from the last fight, in which Kachan lost. The symbol of victory that the green-haired girl chased her whole life lost his fight just like that, while she won. Meeting with All Might on that fateful day was one of the best things that happened to her. It was only better with the added benefit of meeting the first real friend in years the same day. When she heard that Melissa was the same like her, that she was quirkless and despite that still tried to become a hero, Izumi felt shame. Someone in the same situation like her gave their all to achieve the dream that it was just that to the greenette, a dream. Then Izumi learned that Melissa rejected the same offer that All Might gave to her. It was insane. How could someone decline such legacy? The best hero in the history of mankind decided that she was worthy of becoming his successor and the blonde inventor declined. When the greenette asked why, Melissa smiled brilliantly. She said that an old friend of a friend told her that she shouldn't let her dreams be dreams. And with hard work and dedication the blonde inventor showed to the world that it was true. Izumi for a short time felt that she wasn't worthy of becoming All Might's successor, not after giving up and only waiting for a miracle to happen for so many years. Melissa quickly talked her out of this, even involving All Might himself in the conversation. Now after a grueling year straight from hell, after nearly breaking her own body from overworking, she was here. She achieved one of her goals, managed to get into UA. She made more friends, even a few boys that were nice to her unlike in Aldera. She blushed remembering how Izuku complimented her green eyes when they were training. It wasn't anything special and she knew that the steel giant had his eyes only on Momo, but it still counts. She was a girl and an honest compliment was always welcomed, especially when she never really received one like that. She tried to concentrate on the fight ahead. Todoroki was a serious opponent that had a lot of firepower in his arsenal. Even if for some reason he didn't use his fire side, that ice was a big hurdle to pass. Looking to her bandaged two fingers, she had an idea, one that Recovery Girl would probably strangle her for. If an uncontrolled twitch of her fingers could produce so much force. Midoriya-san, please head to your entrance to the arena. The fight will start in 5 minutes. The voice of her English teacher sounded from a speaker near the doors, stopping her train of thought. Walking through the corridors, she tried to come up with a different idea, but she didn't manage to think of anything. Hey, girl, a really gruff-sounding voice called to her, turning around the greenette stiffed seeing who it was. The number 2 hero Endeavor in all his flaming glory stood before her, towering over the girl by over a meter. You are quite powerful, not like All Might, but you will suffice. My Shoto was created to surpass that blonde buffoon but refuses to use my fire. You will be a good stepping stone for him to change that childish behavior. He said it out of the blue, as if all of that was already decided. The flaming man started to walk away, but her sudden replay stopped him. I'm not All Might. He turned around, mildly irritated from her talking back. That's obvious, he replied, but was slightly taken aback from the look of her eyes. Shadowed be her bangs. The green eyes of the girl seemed to radiate energy. An emerald spark danced in them, like a lightning in a storm cloud, making the small teen more intimidating than she was normally. "And Shoto isn't you," she stated, turning around and walking to the arena, seemingly ignoring the hero. He turned around, angered by the lack of respect showed. But those eyes were somewhat intimidating in their own right. The flaming hero decided to let it slide, walking up to his place in the stands. He would buy a VIP seat, but some idiot bought out all of the remaining ones before he could get one, so he needed to stand among the crowds. Sighing with indignation, he prepared himself for another round of the fans begging for an autograph. Izumi, after walking for another minute, got to her entrance. Leaning on the wall, she started to nearly hyperventilate. "Oh my god. I just talked back to the number 2 hero. I'm so dead. What got into you, Izumi? What if he goes with that to the school? He could end my hero career even before it started." She started to mumble to herself in a hyper speed, getting a bit dizzy from the lack of oxygen. Breathing deeply for a few times, she calmed herself a bit. Trying to focus on something, she remembered what Izuku said to her in the training they done in the last 2 weeks. Focus on the objective, don't try to solve all the issues at the same time. Looking to the concrete ring in the middle of the arena, she did just that. All Might asked her to give it her all, to show the world that she was here. It was the time to do just that. With that though, she straightened her back, walking out into the light with more confidence she ever thought was possible to have. "So who do you think is going to win?" Kaminari asked Shiro, who was sipping a soda beside him. "As much as I want to see Todoroki's ass kicked 7 ways to Sunday for how he defeated me, I don't think that Midoriya-chan is strong enough to do that. She certainly can use her quirk much better now, but her opponent is just too damn strong." Shiro replied, shivering from remembering being trapped in the ice. "Don't write off Izumi just like that, she isn't one to give up easily." Melissa butted in, with Mina nodding in agreement. As if to confirm the words of the 2 girls, both of the combatants walked into the arena after being called out. To the slight surprise of everyone, the green-haired bundle of nerves from before was nowhere to be seen. "What happened to her? She is like a totally different person," Mina observed, with Izumi walking into the ring as if she owned the place was rather hard to miss. Listeners, the first confrontation of the quarter-finals will begin now. Present Mike shouted. "You do realize that you said it will be the semi-finals just before the break, right?" Aizawa asked, with a bored tone of voice. "Just a slip-up. Don't need to point it out to everyone." The voice hero mumbled, getting a chuckle from the spectators. "Are you two ready?" Midnight took over from the bickering duo, asking the teens in the ring. After getting 2 nods, she cracked her whip. "Begin." Not wasting any time, Todoroki attacked first. Stomping with his leg, he created a wall of ice that was going to encompass more than half of the ring. Nearly the whole Class 1A cringed a bit from the apparent overkill of an attack, but Melissa observed her green-haired friend closely. The blonde inventor's eyes widened when she saw Izumi holding onto the wrist of her right arm, with the green lighting like energy gathering into her right hand. Just when the attacks was going to connect, a deafening cracking resounded. With the glacier exploding into crushed ice from the pressure, Todoroki needed to create a wall of ice to keep himself in the ring. Looking to his opponent, he nearly gaped from the sight. The green-haired girl that he often saw stuttering and being shy was holding her right hand with her left, trained on him like a gun. Even from this distance he saw that one of her fingers was purple and swelled, but there wasn't even a slight grimace of pain on her face. With the training from his tormentor of a father taking over, Todoroki attacked once more, but his attempts were repelled like the first one. After the 4th wall of ice, he started to feel the backlash of his mother's quirk to show, but at the same time his opponent busted up her whole right hand. Using the wave of ice once more, he saw this time how crazy his opponent really was. Letting go of her right hand that was now looking as if it went through a meat grinder, the green-haired girl just lifted get left hand into position and again fired of an attack that shattered the ice and nearly sent Todoroki out of bounds. In the stands, the classmates of the two were trying to watch, but the attacks from Izumi pushed them all into the seats, and made them cover their ears and eyes from the hurricane-like ice-cold winds. That insane girl! Melissa shouted, exasperated, as she was the only one who caught on what was happening from the start. What's going on? When did Midori manage to get so strong? Mina shouted after the last attack, not hearing herself after the consecutive sonic booms from the arena. She didn't. That idiot is using her fingers as one-shot attacks. Melissa shouted back, equally deafened. She's what? Momo asked just after making sure that the sound-canceling headphones she made for Jiro are working. Her answer was in another deafening crack from Izumi's attack, not able to brace herself properly now the recoil affected the greenette too. She staggered back but planted her feet firmly onto the ground, regaining her stance. Todoroki seemed to be in worse condition now. It was apparent that his movements were slower and sluggish, even the size of his attacks was diminishing. He started to run to the green-haired girl, trying to engage in close combat. Seeing the opponent approaching, Izumi changed her stance to a lower one, and shot out from her spot to meet with the ice user head-on. She ducked under a surprisingly clumsy punch and kneed the boy in his stomach, pushing him back a few meters. Clutching at the spot she hit, Todoroki barely kept his lunch. The green-haired girl didn't pressure him, but it was clear she had the upper hand now. You're shivering, Todoroki. Your moves are slower, your attacks weaker. When she spoke, it was the first time he truly looked at her. She was gripping her mangled hands into fists as if the damage done was nothing. Her eyes were practically glowing from energy they radiated. But what took him by surprise the most was the slight hint of anger in her voice. It was the first time he even saw her agitated like that. You pledged to not use half of your power, one that could easily nullify your disadvantage. You challenged me, you said that you win with only your ice. She continued, slowly getting into a battle stance again. You know nothing. I won't use his quirk in battle, I won't give him what he wants. Feeling attacked, Shoto argued back. It only seemed to anger his opponent more as a few large green lightnings escaped her form, connecting with the ground around her. With the crushed ice all around, it looked equally beautiful and terrifying. Is that what you are going to tell to the people you couldn't save because of that? That you are sorry that they are hurt because you promised to half-ass everything? What will you do when someone dies before you because you pledged to not use half of your quirk? She roared, springing to him so fast he didn't even react. She kicked him so hard that the boy folded over her leg, and only barely managed to create a wall to stop himself from going out of bounds. You didn't even made a scratch on me this whole time, she added, raising her fist. It was as if she didn't even notice the damage she inflicted on herself. His flames only bring destruction. How can I use something like that? He said back, staggering to his feet. Those are your flames, you idiot. Not his. I'm fighting with Todoroki Shoto right now, not Endeavor. Izumi seemed to get even more frustrated. Her hair started to rise a little and getting a bit more jagged appearance. The white and red-haired boy's eyes widened. He looked as if he remembered something. His flame side suddenly ignited in a roaring inferno so hot even on the stands people needed to lean back. You are crazy. Why would you help your opponent in the middle of a battle? He said, more calm this time, looking to his hand covered in flames. Smiling for the first time from the start of the fight, Izumi replayed. Because that's what heroes are supposed to do. I couldn't leave you when you were clearly suffering. Crouching down, she pulled back her right fist, starting to crackle with much more energy than she did to this point. Mirroring her, Todoroki let out a wide blast of freezing air and raised the heat he could produce to maximum. Observing the development from her perch on Izuku's palm, Midnight pressed a button on her headpiece, simultaneously ripping her costume open. Cementos, we're stopping this, she ordered, with a thick cloud of pink gas escaping her skin. The sexy heroine yelped in surprise when she was unceremoniously tossed back, luckily in a way she managed to recover and land with a tumble. Izuku, seeing the amount of power, decided to intervene himself, already stepping into the ring and going in between his two battling classmates. After that, a massive explosion occurred, sending rubble all around. A special bulletproof screens rose from the safety barriers to protect the spectators, with a rain of rocks and rubble striking it immediately after. When the shock wave subsided and the heavy winds calmed down, all of the present people were in a state of shock. The dust cloud in the center was too thick to see what happened at the ground zero, but the voice of Midnight sounded clear through the speakers. Izuku-kun, are you all right in there? She asked. Even with her years of experience, the voice of the sexy heroine trembled a bit. I'm all right, sensei. The giant's calm replay made most of the viewers release a breath they held up, but after another minute the dust revealed a horrific sight. With his shield still active, Izuku stood closer to Izumi. To the sides of the steel giant deep trenches could be seen from Todoroki's attack, with the boy in question trying to seat up nearly 10 meters away from the ring on the grass. Izumi's attack was stopped by his own left hand, which looked like a mangled piece of scrap metal. After few seconds a loud creaking resounded, and to the horror of everyone the said arm fell to the ground with a loud thud. It looked that everyone forgot that Izuku could repair such damage, and some of the people fainted from the sight. It was only worsened by the smoke that rose from the damaged shoulder, even an occasional spark could be seen. Thankfully, by intentionally absorbing so much energy he managed to spare his green-haired friend from further injuring herself. It wasn't even an argument in his opinion. His body could be easily repaired, his friends were a totally different story. Oh my god. Night-san, I'm so sorry. Are you all right? I'm so terribly sorry. Please tell me you will be all right. Oh no, what have I done? Izumi started panicking, seeing how much she hurt her friend. She started to cry, after a few seconds too. The poor girl tried to help her giant friend with his destroyer hand, still ignoring her own injuries. With her mangled fingers she desperately tried to do something, not even knowing what she could or should do. Calm down, Izumi, he said to her, delicately patting the greenette on the head with his remaining right arm. I'm totally fine, it's you who should seek medical attention. Your fingers are in terrible state and need to be healed immediately. I already signaled for a medical team. Izuku continued, with Izumi still crying. She hugged his arm for comfort, still apologizing for harming him in such a way. Are you sure that you're all right, Izuku-kun? Midnight asked after getting closer to the two. Yes, but I'm starting to think some higher power have something against my left arm. It's the third time I lost it so far. The steel giant replied, getting a small smile from the heroine. She cringed though when a loud pop resounded from his shoulder, accompanied with visible electricity arcing on the wound. A bit of smoke started to rise from him, causing Izumi to panic again. Well, I should check it out at least, Izuku said with a level tone. It was good that his meta ability could turn down the perception of pain, because even now he felt the damage. Back up in the stands, the whole Class 1A looked with wide eyes. No one thought that the green-haired girl could deliver so much force to damage their giant classmate. Holy shit, Kaminari commented, with Shiozaki reprimanding him in the background. That was insane. Even Knight didn't get out of it unharmed. Zero added, observing with wide eyes how Izumi still clung to the only remaining hand of the steel giant. A sudden loud bang of the doors crashing into the wall caught their attention, but the only thing they saw was the disappearing form of Momo, who sprinted out of the lounge. Should we go too? Mina asked, already standing up, but was stopped by Shiozaki. I think it's time we should give them a bit of privacy, she said, guiding the Pinkett back to her seat. What an explosive confrontation. We will continue after some repairs and cleanup. The jury is already working on who won this round, so please wait on that, dear listeners. Present Mike announced, but his voice clearly was a tad bit shaken too. Equals warning. Auto balancing system damage detected. Equals. Seeing the extensive list of damages crowned with this prompt flashing in an orange color, Izuku walked into one of the entrances, out of sight of everyone. He managed to send Izumi to Recovery Girl just a few moments ago, and now he was alone. Walking a bit deeper into the stadium, his world started to tilt unnaturally. For the first time in ages he felt dizzy. trying to lean on something. He forgot that his left arm was still in the ruined ring, causing the steel giant to crash into the wall. Zuko, are you all right? Momo's voice caught his attention. Looking back, he saw his friend running to him with clear concern on her face. Princess, I'm fine. Just a small glitch in the balancing system, nothing to worry about. He replied calmly, simultaneously trying to stand back straight. That action made everything worse as he started to lean to the other side now. Using his right hand, he caught himself this time, leaning on the opposite wall. You clearly aren't fine. Please take a bit of rest. Can I help you in any way? Do you need any materials for the repairs? Should I call Melissa or Power Loader Sensei? The raven-haired girl started to fret over him. To his surprise, she came extremely close, not even trying to keep any distance. He slowly sat down near the wall, leaning on it for support. Momo immediately came even closer, tentatively touching his chest plate, trying to help in any way. Don't worry, I'm fine. You should check on Izumi, she is really hurt. He insisted, already starting the repairs. I won't leave you here alone, Zuko. She said firmly, surprising him even further. A bit of silence fell between them, only the faint sound of Izuku's nanites at work could be heard in the background. Zuko, I'm sorry. Momo started, looking to the ground. For what? You didn't do anything. The steel giant asked, not really following. For that whole relationship thing, and for asking you to lie to my parents. And for that stupid stunt Mina pulled after your fight. I'm really sorry to get you involved into all of this. She replied, still standing extremely close to him. He looked to her sad eyes, it seemed that it was really eating his friend up. Don't worry, I fully understand what you mean. You don't need to apologize for anything, I would always help you in any way you need. He replied, but the raven-haired girl's mood didn't get any better. I don't feel like I deserve to have someone like you by me. You always look out for me, but I never am there for you. She said in a small voice, but he heard her clearly. What are you talking about? He asked, genuinely confused. Luna isn't too good at keeping secrets, you know. She accidentally slipped up and talked about your conversation. Please don't be angry at her. She really was distressed when she realized her mistake. To her surprise, a sound resembling a sight escaped her giant friend. I'm sorry for my freak out too. I overreacted way too much when Mina said you were going to share me between you all. I didn't realize she was joking until I was walking to the workshops. He said, embarrassed, looking to the ground. Why you didn't say anything? I never knew you felt lonely. Momo asked. She would hug him if she had a way to do that. You already made time in your schedule to spend with me. I don't want you to change your entire life just to accommodate me into it. With his words, the young girl started to really understand what the issue was. Izuku just didn't want to be a burden. He didn't want to make any problems for her, no matter how small. At the same time, he always was there for her. Even for the rest of their friends, the steel giant always gave help without wanting anything in return. Izuku. When she called him by his name, the giant straightened and stiffened a bit at the same time. Momo never did that. She always used that nickname he introduced himself with when they first met. You aren't troubling me, I want to spend more time with you. I'm sure that the rest of our friends would love to do that too. You can be a bit selfish from time to time. If you want to have company or feel lonely, I'm always there for you. She said, gliding her hand on his chest plate. His receptors absorbed every bit of the interaction, giving him a warm feeling inside. Thank you, Momo. I try to do that. He replied in a really small and soft voice, causing his friend to blush a little. Mo-chan. Is Izuku-kun alright? Momo's mother came running from behind the corner with such speed it looked nearly inhuman. Yes, I am fine. I just need to do some field repair. Princess helped me greatly already. Izuku replied to the older woman, who to his surprise didn't stop and rammed straight into her daughter. Momo without too much problem caught her mother. It looked to be a routine between the two, to be completely honest. Mom, please don't make a scene. I think that we should tell you something. She started after setting the older woman on the ground, stuttering a little at the end. What is it, sweetie? Don't tell me I'll became a grandmother already. Contrary to her outburst, Maya looked quite happy at the concept. No. Where did you get that idea from? Momo blushed profusely. How would that even work with Izuku in his current state? I think she just wants to tell you that we would love to visit you after the festival. There should be 2 days without any classes because of the second and third year festivals. Izuku butted in, looking to the still red Ravenet. That's marvelous. I'll prepare a feast to greet you, and you friends are welcome to, of course. Can you eat anything in your current form, Izuku-kun? Do you want something special prepared for you? Maya asked, with a smile so radiant it nearly produced light by its own. Sadly, I cannot. But the company of you all will certainly suffice for me. The steel giant replied, once again sighing in relief after seeing that his auto-balancing systems became fully operational again. How did his small green-haired friend produce so much power was beyond his reasoning. The damages were much more extensive he thought they would be. What is it? Are you really sure that you are okay? Momo asked him yet again. He didn't sigh before with her around. Yes, a few systems came back online. To be completely honest, it is quite painful, but I'm able to ignore that fact. He replied, getting a worried look from the two in front of him. I felt it once, when we connected at the USJ facility. We should tell the teachers that you need more rest. The black-haired teen said, with her mother nodding beside her. I'm fine. You should tell your friends to not go so hard instead. If I didn't absorb so much energy, the results would be much more catastrophic. He said back with a slight chuckle. You two should go back to your seats. Melissa will be fighting with Iida-san in a few moments. Izuku said, gesturing to the two to back up a bit. After they did that, he stood up slowly, letting go of the wall. He moved around a bit. Not finding any problems, he looked back down to the two who were still observing him. Especially Momo, who tried to judge if he wasn't faking it again. Can I ask you for a bit of steel, titanium, nickel and gold? It would allow me to make repairs while in the arena. He asked, and his only replay was a few cubes created from the materials requested. He needed to stop the girl to not make too much. She had a few potential fights still before her. Reluctantly, Momo started to walk back to the stands with her mother, glancing one last time to her friend who was putting the materials she created into his cockpit. Don't worry, Mo-chan, he will be okay. Maya hugged her daughter from the side. Yeah, you're probably right. I can't help that I'm worried about him. She replied to her mother, blushing a bit. It's normal when you love someone, sweetie. He may be really strong and durable, but even the largest stones will erode away when not cared for. Maya said sagely. That's surprisingly deep and profound. Momo replied, taken slightly aback. And the anime it comes from is cool too. Her mother laughed, especially when the young girl lost balance from that statement. Laughing a bit, the two made their way back to their stands. Welcome, dear listeners, after that short technical break. Present mic begun. Midnight together with Izuku back in their place near the ring. This time she didn't got onto his palm and opted for standing beside him. Our jury decided that the first match of the quarterfinals goes to Midoriya Izumi. The voice hero announced, with the crowd of spectators cheering for the surprisingly strong brunette. The second fight between our crazy inventor Shield Melissa and the speedster Iida Tenya will commence now. Please give some love to our contestants. Present mic continued, getting a roar of applause from the spectators once again. The two fighters came to the ring. Tenya stiff as ever, but his face full of determination. Melissa with her helmet folded. She had even more armor on herself now, with some sort of launcher on her left shoulder that was folded up. Are you two ready? The sexy heroine asked, getting two nods in response. Begin. Melissa's helmet slammed shut immediately. She crouched a bit down and tucked in her arms into a more defensive position. Iida sprinted to her, kicking straight into the guard she put up to test the waters. The armored blonde took the hit head on, the force her classmate delivered managed to push her a few centimeters, but she recovered immediately. Grabbing onto his leg, she swung and thrown the speedster far from herself. Using his thruster-like exhausts, Iida recovered and landed still in the ring, without any pause, starting to move back into offensive. Bracing herself with one leg moving back, the launcher on her shoulder unfolded itself. To Iida's confusion, it had a really narrow barrel, not suited to fire any kind of projectiles. Swerving wildly to one side, he avoided a stream of liquid that, instead of aiming for him, covered the ground he was about to step on. Going around his opponent, he couldn't see the grin forming on Melissa's face. The arm holding the launcher rose over her head and spun after the target, spraying the ground in more and more of the liquid. It looked like the fight with Hatsume, but much less messy. Instead of small bullets, a steady stream followed often the speedster, coating the ground in a slick substance. Stepping into the growing puddle by accident, Iida's leg slipped out from under him, but the blue-haired teen managed to recover from it. With a shout of "Recipro" burst, he used the thrust provided by his engines and shot to his opponent. With surprising agility, he managed to dodge the stream of the slipper substance mid-air and struck Melissa with a flying kick, pushing her over half a meter back. The armored blonde recovered quickly, and using her jump thrusters, shoulder charged her opponent, who tried to regain his balance after the collision. Iida used his still active super move to dodge Melissa's charge, and started to unsteadily slide to the clear part of the ring to regain his footing. Hearing from behind the sound of the engines from the blonde's armor, Iida tried to dodge again, but he was a bit too slow. Melissa's armored hand clamped onto his arm and yanked him back into the slippery area, her armored legs not having any problems with grip apparently. Iida remained on his legs, flailing his arms all around to keep balance. Melissa ran up to him in a rocket-assisted sprint. The blue-haired teen tried to once again dodge, but his calf exhausts let out a loud pop and his engine stalled after using his super move. Closing his eyes, he braced for an impact, but he felt how his opponent, instead of steamrolling through, grabbed him again by the shoulders. Melissa hoisted him into the air and gently tossed his body out of bounds, with the speedster managing to land unsteadily on his feet. The winner by ring out is Shield Melissa. Midnight announced. Bit sounded a bit miffed. Looking to her teacher, Melissa nearly burst out with laughter. It seems that Luna didn't bother in avoiding the sexy heroine when using the lubricant dispenser and hosed her down by accident. I'm sorry, sensei. This polymer is dissolvable in water, so it shouldn't be hard to clean, she said to the irritated woman while getting off of the ring. Need a hand? Izuku asked her. It was clear he found this situation funny. You could have helped me, now I'm all wet. Midnight replied, wringing her hair out. You said that you wouldn't mind. With this much lubrication, the rest of the day should go rather smooth for you, he said back, shrugging with his one arm. Just admit that you wanted to see me in this state, she quipped, striking a seductive pose. You think that I would like to see my sexy art history teacher in a compromising situation with her skin-tight suit wet in lubricant so her body would be even more alluring than it is already? What are you taking me for, a hormonal teenager? He asked back. The way he put it, combined with his deep voice, caused the woman in question to blush slightly to her chagrin. Chuckling from her reaction, Izuku rose his one arm to gain the attention of everyone. We will continue with the tournament after small cleanup. The next match between Mono Manito and Yaoyorozu Momo will commence in around 15 minutes, I think, he announced, gesturing to his company host to go clean herself. Dot, 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 dot. Well, I hope everyone liked the story, and please share or leave a like, or subscribe to see that you guys like the story, and I'll see you all on the next one.